Live every day as if it were the last, because before you know it, time goes past and life's just not that long. Tell all you love that you love them so, because even if you do, they might not know, and one day we'll all be gone. Taste the wind, don't let it blow on by. Sing songs of love, let the music get you.
If you believe in God, and if you believe God is a loving, fair parent to all people on earth, does God approve many millions of people in this nation hogging far more money, far more stuff than anyone needs, while many millions all over the world suffer cold, hunger, sickness, no home? Does your God approve spending many thousands on a luxury box for your decaying dead body when millions of living children go to bed hungry? If you're a loving father or a loving mother, would you approve one adult son living in a huge mansion while your other adult son is sick, homeless, on the street? In Haiti, 60%, over one half of the people survive on $2 per day. Not $2 per hour, $2 per day. Many, many suffer severe hunger. Did those Haitian people in severe poverty choose to be born there? Did we choose to be born here? How would any loving, fair parent God approve any religious person, Christian, Jew, Muslim, living in a big fancy mansion while other people suffer with no home? Does your God want loads of money spent on church buildings? Never once in the Bible did Jesus ask his followers to build any building for him. Never once. Jesus taught his followers to help those who were most in need and to befriend the outcasts of society. Do you know any preachers, any priests, any rabbis, any imams, any TV evangelists who emphasize living simply and fairly in our world family of almost 8 billion people? I have no right to much more than I need, while many millions worldwide suffer on far less than they need. If religious leaders said that and lived that, many so-called religious people in congregations would get offended, pissed off, and would drop out. The money collected in most congregations would drop big time. Too much truth. Many people would walk out. Now, I am no longer religious. I no longer believe in God. I was a sincere 20-year-old Christian preacher in Sterling, Illinois, 55 years ago. I was as sincere back then as I am sincere now. But I had not yet questioned deeply the Bible and my faith. And I thank many, many, many people who helped me open my eyes on my very long, long journey away from religion. 55 years ago, if I had heard me say this on this program and many other subjects that I talk about here from my heart, I would have been absolutely shocked. Big changes in our lives often do not come quickly. They do not come easily. I wish, don't misunderstand me, I wish we had a fair, loving, all-powerful parent God who helped all people, who prayed for help in desperate situations. Millions worldwide for thousands of years have prayed desperately for help from war, starvation, family violence, rape, floods, droughts, on and on and on. Millions of people for thousands of years have prayed desperately with no help. Imagine 8-year-old Jose who goes to Sunday school, and the teacher tells Jose and the other children that Jesus in the Bible promises God will help people who pray for help when they're suffering. And that night, Jose's drunken father comes home, curses and beats Jose's mother, and Jose prays desperately as he sees this happening. He's afraid this night his dad may kill his mother. And Jose prays to keep his mother safe. But his drunken father stabs Jose's mother to death. If we were Jose, would we still believe the promises of Jesus for those who pray? Would his Sunday school teacher understand why Jose stopped coming to church? I love passion in all of life. Passion in romance, passion in living every day. But I want my passion always to be guided by compassion for all people. Because passion by itself is like a fire. It can keep us from freezing to death, or it can kill us. Passion by itself is like a river. It can irrigate my crops to keep me alive so I have something to eat, or it can kill me in a flood. I love passion, but I want my passion always to be guided by compassion for all people, not just my friends, not just people in Albuquerque or the United States, but all people on earth. Sometimes what seemed blessings in our lives become curses. And sometimes what first seemed curses become blessings. I'm deeply indebted to many people, a great variety of people of all ages, of all colors, of all backgrounds, city and country people, religious people and atheists, a great variety of people who have taught me, loved me, inspired me. And I constantly collect wisdom in conversations, on the phone, on the street, from books, constantly collect wisdom on how to live and how not to live. I'm deeply indebted to my friends and to my enemies. In romance between a man and a woman, or between men, or between women, often one person is more attracted than the other. Often one is ready to go deeper, more personal in conversations than the other. Often one is more free sexually than the other. Licking the whole body, including the asshole, which to some people is repulsive, but certainly not repulsive to me if I'm strongly attracted to the healthy man and if he is strongly attracted to me. But the more eager one needs to be patient with the partner or find another partner who is more open and ready. But if we try to pry open a rosebud, we can ruin the rose. If we try to force somebody we love to be more open in conversation or in sex, it doesn't work. It will backfire sooner or later. Don't pry open the rosebud. Be patient or find another partner. If you see me walking on the street or at the flea market or any event, I welcome you to stop and talk with me. I treasure heart-to-heart conversations. The more deep and real and personal, the better. I welcome your questions about my life, what I believe, what I don't believe. I welcome hearing from your life. I'm glad I've gone to no medical doctor for many, many years. I do not know if I ever had a complete physical as doctors give now. And I have no magic. We all will die. I will die. But I do my damnedest every day to live healthy, to eat healthy, only healthy. No booze, no cigarettes, no junk food, nothing with added sugar, no meat, no dairy. I stopped cooking my food in 1998 because cooking destroys most of the nutrients. I aim to live healthy every day, if possible, until the day I die. Why take better care of your car than your body? Why take better care of your house than your body? Why take better care of your pets than your body. The only material possession we each have from birth to death is our body. No other material possession can give us more misery. No other material possession can give us more pleasure than our body. And I want the pleasure. Why spend months or even years suffering before you die? If all people would get serious about living healthy in every way, every day, most hospital beds would be empty. There would be no need for building these massive new hospitals. But if you go to doctors, ask your doctors to perform 3 tests on you. 1, your vitamin D level. Because most people, sadly, live and work inside buildings most of the time. When they are outside, most of their bodies are mostly covered with cloth, cutting off the healing sunshine. So they're starved for sunshine, starved for vitamin D. And the darker your skin is, the more time you need to spend in the sun to get enough vitamin D. If you eat only healthy food, sunshine has many health benefits, including fortifying your immune system so you don't catch the colds and the flu and all infectious diseases, including COVID-19. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying if you sunbathe, that is 100% guarantee of no COVID. But I'm saying it helps fortify, helps strengthen our immune systems. Vitamin D, which most people don't have enough of. If you're just starting to expose your skin to the great healer sunshine, never burn. Start with a few minutes and gradually increase. Secondly, have your doctor test you for vitamin B12. As I said, I eat no meat, I eat no dairy, and many people who eat no meat, no dairy, are low in vitamin B12. But recently, I have started taking bee pollen every day, 1 teaspoon several times a day. Bee pollen is rich in almost every nutrient that we need for health, including B12, vitamin B12. And be sure to get your bee pollen or your raw, unfiltered honey from local beekeepers. Not enough vitamin B12 can cause many serious health problems. And thirdly, get tested for testosterone. Both men and women need enough of the sex hormone testosterone. Men need more testosterone than women, but women need some. We need normal levels of testosterone for better muscle tone, for more energy. We need normal levels of testosterone for better skin, better mood, more strength, stronger sex drive. We need normal levels of testosterone to prevent prostate problems, to prevent heart disease, for stronger bones, less stress, better memory, and to be friendlier and less irritable. We need normal levels of testosterone, both men and women, for better sleep and for more desire, more passion, more drive in all of life. And I say normal levels of testosterone, not taking steroids and going above normal, because then people can get crazy, violent. Cigarettes lower testosterone. You're not going to read that on a cigarette package. Booze lowers testosterone. You're not going to read that on any bottle or can of the damn slow poison booze. I drink not one drop of that damn poison. I've seen it mess up, devastate, cut short the lives of many dear friends. Sunshine on our sex organs, vaginas, cocks, balls, can increase testosterone. In families where the father or the mother or both are alcoholic, children often learn three things that may sadly stick with them until the day they die. Now, we can change, and some people move beyond these three things, but sadly for a lot of people, it sticks till death. One, don't trust. One day the kid comes home from school and the alcoholic parent is kind, asks the kid about his day, has a snack ready, and the next day the alcoholic parent curses the kid. I wish you had never been born. You're stupid. You're lazy. You never will amount to anything. The kid learns not to trust even his own parents. Two, don't feel. The constant roller coaster of life at home makes no sense. It's crazy making. Never knowing what mood the alcoholic parent will be in, whether kind or cursing mad and threatening hell of violence. Three, don't talk. Don't tell other people outside the family the hell at home. If you do, and it gets back to the alcoholic parent, both parents may be mad as hell at you. You have shamed the family. You told the awful truth. Not only in families where one or both parents are alcoholic, but also this goes for families where parents have a miserable marriage with emotional war much of the time, even if neither one is a boozer. Three awful lessons for the kids. Don't trust, don't feel, don't talk. And even in the home, if the kid talks at the wrong moment, the parent may say, "Shut up," and get out of the house. And these horrible lessons can take many years to unlearn. Some people never break free until they die. Aim for 8 or 9 hours of sleep every night. Every night. Not enough sleep demolishes our immune system. Not enough sleep doubles our risk of cancer. Not enough sleep sets us up for Alzheimer's. Not enough sleep can cause heart disease and strokes. Not enough sleep can lead to depression, anxiety, even suicide. Not enough sleep can make people fat. Because when you don't get enough sleep, you tend to eat more for the energy that you might have gotten from enough sleep. And also somehow the body turns off the control of saying you've had enough. So, not enough sleep. An epidemic in our society can make millions of people fat. I strongly recommend the book Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker. It's in our Albuquerque Public Library. I got it just recently. I highly recommend it. It's the best book I know about concerning how important it is to get enough sleep, to be healthy in our bodies and in our minds. And besides 8 hours every night, a nap, a siesta in the early afternoon or mid-afternoon for 20 minutes to an hour helps us to be healthy. Very good for our hearts and for us to live long lives. Prescription drugs and some diseases can keep many older people from getting the sleep that everybody needs. Enough sleep helps our memory. Enough sleep makes us more creative. Enough sleep helps us to be more attractive. Enough sleep protects us from cancer and dementia. Enough sleep keeps us lean and slim. Enough sleep lowers the risk of heart attack and stroke and diabetes. Enough sleep helps us to be happier, less depressed, less anxious, easier to live with. Enough sleep helps prevent colds and flu and, again, COVID-19. And driving when sleepy is more dangerous than driving drunk. Driving when sleepy is more dangerous than driving drunk. And I confess that sadly, I foolishly drove sleepy many times the trucks in our parents' business and my car that I owned 42 years ago and before. And if you listen to this program regularly, you know that I have not ridden in anybody's car for 20 years. I haven't owned a car for 42 years. And I would not keep a car if you gave me the most luxurious car in this city and paid me to drive it. I ride the bus, but I mostly walk. Far healthier for my body, far healthier for Mother Earth. We are in a climate crisis. And many thousands of people in many countries have been murdered by this government in order to get their oil for gasoline so people in this nation can ride in their cars wherever they damn please, if they have the time, if they have the money. I foolishly drove Sleepy many times many years ago. And no wonder my mother worried so much that I would crash. If I had my life to live over, knowing what I know now, I would aim never to drive Sleepy. I could have killed and injured other people and myself. I strongly oppose driving when sleepy, and I strongly oppose driving after drinking booze. Not enough sleep can worsen PTSD and schizophrenia. Not enough sleep can worsen all mental illness. And the United States government and many governments in the world have used sleep deprivation, in other words, keeping people awake who are prisoners of war or of whatever, as torture. Torture that can sicken the person's body and their mind, their whole personality. Depriving people of sleep by government or in the house from late night horrible fighting is torture. The epidemic of not enough sleep is one of the worst health problems in the United States and other industrialized nations. Nothing can substitute for enough sleep. Not even eating only healthy raw plant foods as I do. Not even walking much and exercising almost every morning after I get up, as I do at home, free. Push-ups and chin-ups and many other exercises, crunches. Sunshine can't substitute for enough sleep. Nothing substitutes for enough sleep. Close friendships, forgiving ourselves and others, apologizing, asking forgiveness, all are so important, but none of them can substitute for enough sleep if we want to live healthy and long. Aim for 8 or 9 hours every night, no exceptions, and never consider yourself lazy for getting enough sleep to feel good. And never call anyone else lazy for getting enough sleep. My beloved friend Roberto died at age 31 in 1999, 22 years ago. For years, Roberto was severely chemically addicted. Spray paint, cigarettes, booze, other drugs. And one major cause of his severe chemical addictions was the conflict inside him. The conflict between his religion and his sex with men. The conflict inside him between his family and his sex with men. His religion and his family accepted his chain smoking in slow suicide far better than his having pleasurable sex with men. The skies of Roberto's life were often dark and cloudy, but at moments, the brilliant sunshine broke through. His tenderness, his affection, his tears shone clearly. Roberto shed tears of sorrow with me. Roberto opened his heart in conversation with me. He shared his naked body with me. He and I often told each other, "I love you." And once he dedicated a beautiful Spanish song to me on radio. He said, "To Don, my best friend, I love." He made other song dedications to me, and I made song dedications to him. And on my answering machine, he left the message, "I love you," hugs and kisses. I wrote down many things that I don't have here that he said to me that were special. One time when he said, "When you masturbate, think of me." Back then, I still ate cooked food. He called me from the emergency room at Presbyterian Hospital. He asked me to bring him some beans to eat. And back when I ate cooked food, I cooked a lot of beans. They're one of the most nutritious cooked foods you can eat. And I love them, but not cooking one's food, eating only healthy raw plant foods, is far better for your health. I took him beans, and he kissed me and said, "I love you." Another time, I took him food when he was in the UNM hospital. And outside the hospital, he kissed me when I left. In our last conversation, before he died at 31 of AIDS, I'm so glad I told him, "I love you." And he said, "I love you too." Sometimes Roberto asked me to mention him on my TV program that I had back then in the 90s, years ago. And I now dedicate this program today to my beloved friend Roberto. Why are violent movies called action movies? Why are videos of sex, no matter how affectionate, how romantic, labeled dirty? Why do families with children watch movies full of glamorized war and robbery and murder and revenge and rape and greed and booze? Why the addiction to violence for entertainment? Why do families watch brutal boxing and mixed martial arts of man against man or woman against woman, bruising, bloodying, and brain damaging each other? It's insane. It's evil. Why would any adult man or woman watch that crap? And why are movies of passionate romance and sex between Juliet and Romeo, or Juliet and Judy, or Romeo and Roger not considered family entertainment? Imagine a world where watching affectionate lovemaking between men, between women, between a man and a woman is family entertainment for all ages. Can we imagine such a world? Why do many parents prefer their adult son be a boxer injuring men, or a soldier killing men and women and children in war, than for their son to be in love and make love with men? Why are many people more ashamed of being seen naked than they are of paying federal income tax for war, to murder our sisters, our brothers in other nations? I have paid not one damn bloody penny of federal income tax for war for 42 years, and I never will. If a boy picks on his sister and hits her, will he change how he feels about her if his father or mother hits him for picking on and hitting his sister? Hell no. And if we in the United States want the leaders of Afghanistan to respect the full and equal human rights of women there and everywhere, if we want the leaders of Afghanistan to respect the full human rights of gay and lesbian and bisexual and trans people there and everywhere, will the U.S. government's mass murder of thousands of people for 20 years of war in Afghanistan help women and LGBT people there now? Hell no. The violent Muslim extremists see freedom for women, freedom for LGBT people coming from their enemy, who has killed many thousands of their people, the United States of America. So if we in the United States want full human rights for women, for LGBT people, for all people, we must oppose all U.S. wars anywhere in the world. We must oppose U.S. corporations stealing billions of dollars in resources and cheap labor from any nation. Do kids know that they can ask any question from us adults? Any question, and get an honest answer about family secrets, about sex, about life? Do I welcome sincere personal questions from kids and adults? Now, some exceptions, of course. If I choose not to answer certain questions, do I explain why to the person? If someone confided in me and asked me not to tell others what he or she confided, that's an exception. Or if somebody is out to find and injure or kill someone, of course, I'm not going to tell where that person they're looking for is, if I can help it, unless my own life is on the line, sadly. But sadly, many kids do not feel free to ask their parents and other adults sincere, honest, personal question. Sometimes the adult gets angry. Don't ask questions like that. Tells the kid rather, never ask questions like that again. Or the parent says, go out and play, or go watch TV. I never want to shame any kid or any adult for asking me any question. I don't want to shame people for honest curiosity. And sadly, in many families, there are many secrets too hot to handle. People go to their graves having learned early not to ask certain questions because their parent, other adult relatives slam shut the door on those subjects. So sad, so stupid. Why? Why hide what is precious and painful inside? When I hear of someone committing awful violence, do I think how I would feel if I were that person committing that violence? Especially if that person afterwards now terribly regrets what he or she did. Do I realize I might have done that evil violence in that person's situation? That doesn't make it right, but it sure helps to understand and to forgive and to want to help that person change. We all are capable of terrifying violence. And we all are more than the worst things we ever did in our lives, or the worst things we almost did. And when I hear of someone who was shot or stabbed or run down by a drunk or a sleepy driver, how would I feel if I were that person, the victim, or the person's family, if the victim has died? We all are sometimes in life the villain, and we're all sometimes the victim. And the more we condemn the person doing violence as a no-good devil, the harder we make it for that person to wake up and to change their ways. And the real question is, do we want that person to change? And if we do not want them to change, are we behaving any better than the person who committed the violence? I strongly support a woman's right to breastfeed her baby in public. If the mother is healthy, breastfeeding is much healthier for the baby than formula. Breastfeeding is much cheaper than formula. Breastfed babies have fewer allergies, fewer ear infections, less diabetes many years later, less cancer, less asthma later in life. And mothers, to give your babies the healthiest breast milk possible, eat no meat, no dairy, no junk food, drink no booze, smoke no cigarettes, to reduce greatly the poisons in your breast milk, because 95%, and this is something I certainly never learned in school, 95% of the pesticides people in this country consume are from the meat and the dairy they eat. 95% of the pesticides. Breastfeeding is clean. Breastfeeding is natural. Breastfeeding is safe. Breastfeeding is convenient. I strongly support a woman's right to breastfeed her baby in public. Many diamonds sold in the United States are heartbreaking stories of greed, violence, mutilation. African children are forced into slavery to mine diamonds. What jewelry store tells you that? If these African children fail to work or produce, they're beaten. They're punished. Even their arms get cut off. Think of that. Anytime you consider buying a diamond. Many diamonds sold in the United States are blood diamonds, agents of terror for African children. And there's no easy way to know for sure if the diamond you buy is a blood diamond. And of course, I assume that many jewelers would say, oh, no, my diamonds are not blood diamonds. Huh. How does he know? How does she know? If you have a conscience, never buy diamond jewelry. If it's not a blood diamond, why waste money on something no one needs, while others in this world suffer hunger and cold and sickness and no home? I will never buy diamond jewelry the rest of my life. I guess I never have for these almost 76 years either. Boycott the whole diamond industry. There's a lot of cheap, colorful jewelry that we can get and wear. A woman writes to Ann Landers, last night my husband and I were having a late night talk. When the conversation shifted, I asked him if his parents had ever told him that they loved him. We've been married several years, and I've never heard either one of his parents tell him they love him. I did not realize what an old wound I had opened until he told me that every once in a while his mother tells him that she loves him, but his father never has. Tears welled in my eyes, and I sensed the hurt in his voice. He told me that once when he was a teenager, he tried to tell his father that he loved him. But his father made a joke of it and changed the subject. She says, I know how he feels. My father died when I was 20. And even though I had told him I loved him, I only heard him say it to me once. I was miles and miles away from home. He said it over the telephone. I've treasured that memory for the past 16 years. I hope he'd say it again, but he never did. That one time, however, will sustain me forever. I'm pleading with your readers, Anne, to tell a son, tell a daughter, tell a mother, tell a father, tell a relative, tell a friend, tell anyone who is loved that he or she is loved. The Reverend Martin Niemöller, who was a German Lutheran pastor under the Nazi regime in Germany. And he was arrested by the Gestapo in 1938. He was sent to a concentration camp until he was freed by the Allied forces in 1945. But he wrote this: I didn't speak up. In Germany, the Nazis first came for the communists. And I wasn't a communist, so I didn't speak up. Then they came for the Jews, and I didn't speak up because I wasn't a Jew. And then they came for the trade unionists, and I didn't speak up because I wasn't a trade unionist. And then they came for the Catholics, and I didn't speak up because I was a Protestant. And then they came for me. And by that time, no one was left to speak for me. A parent writes, I'm not sure a father or mother, to Ann Landers, I read the letter you printed about the man who escaped boredom by spending time on the internet. I'd like to tell your readers that too much time on the computer can indicate a serious problem. Our son, John, killed himself 1 year after graduating from Colorado University. He was a brilliant young man, a loving son. I feel tremendous guilt, this parent says, over his suicide. From the time John was 9 years old, he spent a great deal of time on the computer. I encouraged this, believing he would benefit from it. He sailed through school without drugs, without alcohol. He had no discipline problems, but there were signs of too much withdrawal. John had a beautiful smile, a gentle demeanor, which I took to indicate he was okay. But he was not okay. I now know that depression can be fueled by a lack of meaningful human contact, face to face, person to person, excessive computer activities, online communication, video games, role playing need to be added to the list of symptoms of clinical depression for the benefit of people like my son. She says, or he says, this parent says, please warn your readers to look for these symptoms, and I wish someone had noticed our son John had a problem and had mentioned it to us. We could have used some help. From Colorado Springs, Colorado. Good night.
Live every day as if it were the last, because before you know it, time goes past and life's just not that long. Tell all you love that you love them so, because even if you do, they might not know, and one day we'll all be